Good evening. It's 6 p.m. on Monday, March 24th, 2025. This is the meeting of the Katuitt Fire District Prudential Committee taking place at Freedom Hall and by Zoom. If I can ask all who are able to rise and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item is roll call. Mark Lynch here. Seth Burdick, present.
Fran Parks here.
Ray Perone, treasurer here.
Kelly, the first.
Thank you. The next item is public comment. Is there any public comment live or by Zoom?
Nothing in the chat, and I do not see any hands raised.
Okay. The next item is meeting minutes approval. We've fallen behind a little bit, and in an attempt to catch up, I've sent out a number of a draft meeting minutes, which I hope we can get approved this evening. Bear with me one moment. The first one is the December 4th, 2024 tax classification meeting minutes. Can I get a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
The next one is the December 4th Prudential Committee meeting, which is because of a technical glitch in two parts, Part A and Part B. Can I get a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
The third one is the December 11th, 2024 Prudential Committee meeting minutes for approval. All of these, by the way, were ones that I sent out earlier today. Can I get a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next is a December 30th, 2024 Prudential Committee meeting. Can I get a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Bear with me. The dates of the last two. Do you happen to have the dates of the last two meetings?
The last 2 minutes.
I know I sent them out, but I can't lay my hand on them right now. January and February 25.
You looking for the ones you just sent?
Yeah, I thought I sent
February
them.
24th. Let me get the computer up and see what she
Yeah.
said.
4th, 11th, 30th.
You should have one for January 25 and February of 25.
March 24th. I have one for Lisa for 22-24.
Okay.
25,
Can I get a motion to approve the February 24th, 2025 Prudential Committee meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And 122-25.
And can I get a motion to, or can I move to approve the meetings from the January 22nd, 2025 Prudential Committee meeting?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have a few more we need to catch up on next month. So look for some additional ones in your inbox. The next item is the treasurer's report.
Thank you. As of February, we're in a very positive position, both with respect to revenue and expenditures. Tax revenue is 190,000 over target. The target being 8 out of the 12 months, assuming a straight line performance in the budget. So 67% is the target. We have collected 72% of the tax levy today. That said, I will caution that next month, I anticipate that number to be substantially lower. March collections have been very weak. There's a few days left in the month, so maybe that'll turn it around, but I would just caution that $190,000 positive variance may not be there next month. Water department is 302,000 ahead of the budget, running at almost the full budget, 98% of the budget. Now, we set the budget lower. The budget figures that I'm showing here are the budget figures that we submit to the state. They're not the measurement that you folks use, the water department uses to measure its own performance. That's a much higher figure. I'm down around 85% of what figure that you folks normally calculate. But in any case, that's good news on the water department. Fire department is at 59% over budget, at 70%. And in the other categories, we're about 59,000 overall. So that's basically interest and some other grant activity. On the expenditure side, overall, well, let me summarize that. That means at this point, we're $527,000 ahead of the February target. On the expenditure side, we're also below that target, which is the best way to be, approximately 384,000. And that's adjusting for some of the large annual payments, like risk insurance and the retirement contribution. But as we go through all of the categories, all of the departments, they're all favorable. Prudential at 68%, that includes a large one-time risk insurance payment. Fire department at 61%, water department at 53%, Freedom Hall at 53%, streetlights at 43%, library 100% completed on budget. The debt service at 78%. I'll speak more about the debt service when we are talking about the budget. There's been a shortfall in the interest that we'll have to make up with the reserve account. And I'll get into that in some detail in the budget. Transfers about half done. And so far we haven't touched that $45,000 reserve fund. So again, overall expenditures, 384,000, revenue 527,000. So at this point, you would say that we have close to $900,000 of free cash. That won't happen. But it's nice to be in that position at this time of the year. The articles are all on target. Nothing unusual to report there. The fire department is increasing its target expenditures for the year. And again, I'll talk more about that when I'm talking about the budget, the debt for the finishing off this year and for the upcoming next year. Any questions on March performance to date? Excuse me, February performance to date. I haven't even finished March. If, and I don't see anything on the board, so if not, in the continuing saga to antagonize us, Paychex has once again issued the incorrect W-2s. I sent them detailed box by box instructions this time, as opposed to what apparently wasn't clear enough from them the last time. So we're still waiting for the correct W-2s for the employees. I apologize for the delay. I am at the point where I'm seriously considering changing from Paychex.
Ray, as I understand it, or correct me if I'm wrong, this was even a different mistake than the one they made last year, or worse
Yeah, I
than
think it is.
last
I think this time they deducted the retirement from the federal taxable wages and then deducted it again for the state taxable wages. In reality, it's only supposed to be deducted from the federal, not from the state. So I'm losing track of which version they produced when. This version double deducted the retirement contribution when calculating the state taxes. They deducted it to arrive at the federal, and then they deducted it again to arrive at the state.
So they compounded the problem from last
Compounded
year.
it. Yeah, and so the only thing I can figure is their system, instead of adding it back to the federal line, if that's the way their system works, they deducted it. I can't believe that their system would take Medicare wages, deduct the SMART plan, and then double deduct the retirement to get to state taxes. I mean, that just doesn't make sense. So their system must go Medicare wages to federal wages to state wages. And instead of adding back, they deducted it in that last step.
I'm glad to hear that you're thinking about replacing them. I've been thinking that's,
Yeah, but it's not only the mistakes, it's the attitude. I returned it and said, hey, the deadline is coming. This is an urgent matter. And all I got back was, it'll get in line with the rest of the requests. And I took exception to that.
Do we need to take a vote or otherwise authorize you to investigate the replacement for Paychex?
I don't think you do, but if you wish, that would be fine.
If we don't, we shouldn't, but I second Fran's thoughts that we
Yeah.
should actively be looking for
Yeah,
a
that's-
replacement.
Yep.
that's definitely the treasurer's purview to take care of.
So I thought, just wanted to make sure, but
I'm glad I have your support.
please proceed.
That's all I had on the performance.
The next item I have on the agenda is the auditor's report. I think the way we'd left it is Ray was going to invite the auditors for either this month or next month.
I think
Did they give you an idea if it's gonna, need to get an extension? Or
if someone will be here soon. I know you said it was a week ago. You were talking, they said they were gonna send up, they didn't give you an estimated
They
time.
gave no estimated
Chris,
time.
can I ask you to come up and introduce yourself? And none of that's going to be audible, so just start from
I
scratch.
apologize, I have
No
to
worries.
return.
We're back on the topic
To the guys, yes.
of
I apologize.
paychecks.
I just didn't know if they'd given you any kind of
No,
an
I
estimate.
did not, and that's where I took exception. Her response was, well, just put it in the system. And I said, hey, you're our customer service rep. You're supposed to make sure that our priorities, our valid priorities are met.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, I agree with you guys. It's time to look for somebody else. 2 years in a row, this has dragged on way too long. But I just wanted to be able to go back and tell my guys, look for an extension. Because we're almost, 2 weeks away? Two and
No,
a half
April
weeks away?
15th,
April
3 weeks
15th is the deadline, yeah.
3
And
weeks.
we don't even have one in hand to be able to do that. Some of the guys have places they bring it, and you can't bring it in. They're gonna have an extension right away. People 2 weeks ago were getting extensions at tax
Yeah,
offices.
you get an automatic 60 days. I
All
recall.
right, I'll bring that back then. Thank you.
Yeah. Can't apologize that we don't have it, but
Yeah, Chris, for what it's worth, we're as aggravated as you guys are with this, as you can tell from our thoughts about replacing them. Okay, next item was auditor's report. We were going to invite the auditors either this month or next. I'm not sure which.
he had a conflict with this date,
Okay,
so we'll extend the offer for next month.
all right, thank you.
The audit is complete, the report is finished. There were no exceptions. There's a couple of suggestions, which are well-founded suggestions, which I'll share with you about, he can share with you. But regarding cybersecurity for the district, which is obviously a very important and timely subject.
All right.
I just wanted to say something to Chris. For you, for years, we've had a defect.
Go ahead.
For years, we've had a defect in the report because of the way it wasn't.
There's no segregation
No
of duties.
segregation of duties. And this is the first year we haven't because you have the lockbox.
Yep.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, and you were mentioning cybersecurity. We just did have an assessment of the water department done from the state mandated.
Mhm.
And that's part of what's in there, the first stage of the 5 years for us to get the state mandated rules and everything else that we have out there. I can get you a copy of our report,
Yeah, that would be very
and then
helpful.
maybe it'll help with that also.
Yeah, and I know the fire department is anxious to do theirs, so I think we have to sit down and work together and come up with a district-wide review,
Sounds good.
and they can incorporate those findings in that.
Okay, I will put auditor's report on the agenda again for next month, and we will go into these topics in substantially greater detail. The next topic is Fire and Water Department budget review. I know that we have something from the Water Department, and I don't know if you were planning on.
I have some handouts. I didn't get a chance to send, I talked to Brent later on and realized Lisa wasn't gonna be here to have something up on top. I have some handouts for you guys to talk.
Okay, that'd be great. Again, come on up and say the same thing. You just repeat yourself. We need to be mindful of our audible recordings. Thank you.
I have one, Chris, so.
Major maintenance and operations. All right, I'll go through, I won't touch labor and salaries, I'll let them talk about those. I'll go through with maintenance here and operations that we have now. In front of you, as you can see, water mains are in a level fund as to last year, stations and tanks the same way. The maintenance reserve that we have has to be that way. Grounds, we have increased. As I've mentioned before, we've had some rodent problems around our generators. One of them has been destroyed by some rodents in the middle of the well field. They have it now. They picked it up, brought it back to their office in New Bedford, and trying to assess if it can be fixed or if we didn't. So they did that a week ago. Came down and grabbed it. So it's gone right now. We don't have any backup at that station, but we do have plenty of backup with our other stations. So we did increase that for our rodent control. Water testing has actually gone down for our DEP required testing. Building repair would remain the same, and meter replacement remain the same. We're a little increase there from 122,600 to 123,200. Under operations, we're keeping advertising the same. We are going down in postage and printing, both because of the second mailing not going out. We're mailing, doing billing once a year, twice a year now instead of 4 times a year. We did increase a little bit under computer and copier for our increase in vendor rates. On that, we've level funded all down through between everything till we get to the consumption assessment. That has gone down because that's just actually payment of last year's water, so we know how much we have to pay the state for that water. So our actual subtotal there is lower than it was last year by 76.76%, yes. And we did raise though our service connections because the price of brass and everything else that's gone to it, even repairs, are just phenomenal right now. It's ridiculous how much they are. So that's our increases and decreases there. And that will go to labor and salaries.
Labor and salaries. As you know, we had a challenging year in terms of staffing. We were short-staffed for at least half of the year. And so the good news is that we have recently, as of last week, hired a junior operator.
In their week, yeah. Today, this is 6th day.
This budget, however, has increases in the on-call and the overtime areas because at the time that we set the budget, we weren't sure if we would be able to fill that position in time. And frankly, I think it's prudent to keep that money set aside in case we do go short-staffed again. It's a competitive market out there. Our salaries are competitive with the other districts, but we are losing viable candidates to other districts that are paying higher. And we're constrained in the applicant pool because they have to be within 30 minutes of the well field in case the pagers go off. We have increased cost of living by 2.5%. That's the Social Security Administration's COLA figure for the year. And we're offering merit bonus to the superintendent of $5,000 and longevity bonuses of $3,000 to our 2 senior operators, JR and Matt, who, correct me if I'm wrong, have hit their 10-year mark.
Correct. Will, one has one, yes.
And the office manager has also hit the 10-year mark, so we're giving her a longevity increase in addition to the COLA. That brings us up 9.25%, or $43,000 more than the previous year.
And most of that 9.25% is attributable to the new hire, correct?
Correct. It will go down a little, but only maybe a couple grand for, I think we put this at the new higher rate for, we have the new guy in here as being, I think we said $30 an hour. We hired him less than that, but he has the ability to get $1 raise for each license that he gets, up to 2 licenses. It's an incentive to get him to get in there and get to the point where we can meet our staffing requirements. So we kind of have to leave some of that there, but not all of it. We can make sure we will, after we sit down and have our meeting on Wednesday night, have a final for you that will tell you exactly what it is.
And you mentioned that the office manager has reached a 10-year longevity increase. Is that, and also one of the operators, which one is that?
JR.
Okay, and how about the operator A?
Matt will be there by the time the meeting happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might be helpful when you do the final to indicate what the overall percentage increases are. That is, as opposed to cash plus a percentage, just so we can obviously do the math, but if you would do that for us, that'd be helpful.
I think I've done that already. I put these into the model we have. Those are the combined increases. Sure, my number ties into yours. Yep.
Can you walk us through the capital improvement program?
So we are going for 4 different articles, I believe. One of them is to replace the Ram half-ton that we have. It's reaching its 10-year mark. I don't know if you guys have gone out with the prices of vehicles. I highly, in the last year, underestimated how much it would cost to get a new vehicle out there. We would like to increase that to a 3/4 ton and have it set up to be a backup plow truck in case the other truck goes down. We're not going to be buying another plow. We'll just be buying the setup to be able to have the housing on there, just a truck unit only, so that the minute mount can go onto either vehicle if we have to. So that is $75,000 for a vehicle right now. Set up with a couple toolboxes in the back of the pickup and set up to have plow frame. Our HVAC at the office cannot be fixed. Everything we have that was on it, they've kind of patched everything together to get through last summer. So we knew we were going to need to get a new one. The AC cannot be replaced on it. So talking to them, I had them give me an estimate and they put in at $20,000 to replace the heating system in at the department office.
Does that take into account any rebates?
No, it has not. Not with any price I got from them. I have to go out because it's 20, I have to get 3 prices. If someone can give me some incentives on something like that, that'd be great.
Well, you're going with heat pumps?
I don't believe so.
Don't.
Okay.
I had the same question when you said the heating and air conditioning.
Yeah, it's a
are both-
combined unit that we have. It's, it has the unit outside and then, inside for the heat. And I believe that was put in, I want to say late 80s. So I was there when it was put in, so I was thinking it was new, but I've been there 38 years now, so I don't realize at times, you know, that what I can remember is not just what happened yesterday. So yeah, I was surprised that it was going, but yeah, everything, as you know, buying
Yeah.
a refrigerator or anything like that, nothing's made to last.
I'm just curious, and the same question Ray had. whether
I know
it
that
would
there
be a
are some
combined
units out there that
system
can get
or-
rebates for the efficiency, and we would definitely go close that way, I would think. We won't know till we start getting prices on it,
Yes, say,
but Scott put that in mind and keep that in mind when we're doing it. We talked earlier about the cybersecurity. They gave me a plan. We're doing everything over 5 years.
It's a paper I showed.
The assessment that we had done. It's quite a lot of money that they came up with, and I talked them down from a couple things. A couple of things of redundancy that they have for our backups for a SCADA system. Say it was to go down where we are, to go down and they wanted to put it into another building. So that if we had to go, but every 5 years I'd have to change a computer on it. It might never be used ever. I asked him, I said, if something happened here, can I just put a new computer right here? And he said, well, yeah, you could.
So when you say they,
That being the company that did the cybersecurity assessment.
okay,
This is all their suggestions. They gave me a huge sales pitch. And I've talked to them about it. We did talk it down. They wanted, I think, 90 grand to do some work this year. And I said, that's just too much to be thrown out at everybody. I will be coming every year asking for a little more to be done. I think it was altogether $158,000. They wanted to bring everything to where they wanted it to be, not just where the state wants it to be.
that was my next question. Are
No, we
these
will
state
still make-
mandated
yeah.
changes?
We will still meet the state requirements of what we haven't done. I'm just making sure that we're not doing an overkill.
And we may get a grant offset.
Correct. This is $60,000 we're asking. I just sent in an application for a grant to the state for $30,000 today. I was told when we did this and I had my assessment by the state at my sanitary survey that we were eligible for it and we could get it. I don't want to say we will for sure, but it is from the state. It's not from the federal government.
I would put that in at 90.
Well, the 60 is what I talked them down to. I don't think you should have a 90. The 60 is what it will call if I don't use the 30. I will only spend 30 if the grant comes.
Okay, so 60, the grant would be from the 60, not from the 90.
Correct. And we do need a new printer copier at the office, which is, we've got an estimate from the company for $3,500.
Are there any questions from the committee about this presentation?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next topic is the fire department budget review. I'm not sure where you guys stand on that, but be happy to hear what you've got.
Thanks.
Good evening. And you have before you the proposed FY '26 operating budget for the Katuitt Fire Department. Starting at salary and wages, largely contractual increases in the first section, salary and wages, 4% increase in fire chiefs. Salary, 2% increase in the deputy chief salary, 6% contractual increase in the firefighter and company officer salaries. Then going down into the overtime, there is the appropriate lines were adjusted with the increase in the contractual wages to account for those. those areas. And then there was a 10% increase in the other full-time salary and wages overtime line, and that was, the 10% was $3,000 added, so that went from 29,000 to 32,000, and that was largely to cover a lot of the increased community risk reduction efforts that we have been undertaking, and from time to time, we have to hire people to be out there at certain activities and to perform certain functions above and beyond their normal duties. With that, that is under salary and wages, that's a 5% increase for a total of $2,424,000, $2,424,021. Again, that's when it's all said and done, it's a 5% increase in salary and wages. Are there any questions on salary and wages prior to moving into the operations and maintenance section of the budget?
No.
Briefly, these would include bumps from training certifications as well. This is,
Yes,
that's
sir.
all
That is
included in your
correct.
chip.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what do you do? Just kind of project those out over the course of the year, what you think is going to happen based on the training that is ongoing?
It's budgeted at a max liability because it's impossible for everybody to achieve those.
Got it.
So,
Thank you.
yep. Moving into the operations and maintenance line, we do know that we have a pretty significant request coming to the taxpayers of the village, and we have largely level funded our operating budget this coming, our request for this coming fiscal year. We have gotten, thanks to the efforts of Captain McNamara, we have a very much improved preventative maintenance plan for our apparatus, which is oftentimes a big significant cost associated with our operations and maintenance budget. He's done a great job of getting those up to speed to where they need to be and maintaining those so that we're not getting as significant big hits in that line. So that was oftentimes a big driver. And so we feel like that we will be able to manage our operating lines. As you can see, we've done a good job this fiscal year of managing these, and we think we can do that for the most part. We did increase by 20% of our training and education line, so that's an increase of $4,500, and that equates to a total of a 1% increase overall in the operations and maintenance line. So that brings the operations and maintenance line to $400,154. So a 1% increase. So when it is all said and done, that averages out to a 4% increase overall in our budget for a total request of $2,824,175 for the fiscal year 26 budget. Are there questions on the operations and maintenance lines of the budget?
Not for me. Brian, Seth?
No.
No. Thank you.
Sir?
As far as the warrants, we're in the position, as far as funding for the building renovation project, we are working with our team now, designers and OPMs, to come up with what the expected cost is going to be, the estimate. We will have that for the warrant, for the date and time of the warrant, so we'll be good to go there. And that's pretty much where we're at with that. We do have some ongoing activity with regards to, weekly meetings, meeting with the town. We have another meeting with the historic committee because of the historic nature of the fire station itself, right? We have some additional site conversations going on. So in the process of, construction documents, cost estimate, and public bid process. So we're moving down the path. We're on target, and we're on target from a overall expenditure to date point of view.
And just for the recording, that last speaker was Kevin Conley, Fire Commissioner.
Yes, thank you.
We were handed a fiscal 2025 capital project
That's
expenditure.
what you sent me. I shared it with you.
Okay. Can you just briefly walk us through what we're looking at there?
Absolutely. Show you the documents you have.
Yeah.
You know, okay, sure, thank you. So what you're looking at there is what we've expended to date and what we expect to be the expenditure for fiscal '25 overall. In addition to that, in the final column, you see as it's listed, fully executed contract costs. So based on some of the contracts we have in place right now, our fully executed cost would be 1.9. But that will be dependent on approval to move forward with the current project. So right now, fiscal '25 liabilities is 935. 120.
That is what you are anticipating will be spent by the end of this
That's correct.
fiscal year.
To date, I think it's 293,000 we've spent. I have that exact number, 293,000 that we've spent already. We have some additional costs coming in.
Okay. And all of this is accounted for in warrants already passed, correct?
Correct.
Current warrants passed
Um,
1.3.
No, not 1.9. 1.3 has been approved.
Okay.
And that's, you're going to be well below that number for
Yes,
this
we're below that
fiscal
number.
year. Okay,
And for the record, the 1.9, as much as that is a fully executed contract, that's not a liability at this point unless we move forward with additional funding.
understood. Questions?
So you anticipate having a price before, well in advance of the annual district meeting?
We will have a price for the warrants to be published and before the district meeting, yes.
So it's gonna happen at this meeting, for
Yes,
sure.
sir.
And price, just to be clear, we're talking about an overall price for the entire project.
That's correct. We're also working on what the rollout cost would be in 2026, right? So we're working on, hopefully we'll have by that date, the plans, let me rephrase it, the plans to have by that date what the quarterly expenditures will be in 2026. So we'll have the number, the estimated build cost, as well as what the rollout cost will be for 2026.
Anything else for these gentlemen? Thank you.
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
The next agenda item is the Katuitt School Property Feasibility Study status. Trying to remember the exact timing. The Prudential Committee has hired Icon Architecture to undertake that review. They have commenced the project. They had a group including architects, structural engineers, hazardous waste management, and HVAC systems, I should say, systems engineers, which would include HVAC and other similar things, inspecting the property. That was approximately 3 weeks ago. We are entitled to updates on their progress. I've gotten a kind of casual update, but I think we need to focus on when the due date for this is, and we've emphasized to them that the due date item is the presentation to the community, which will focus on the answers to the special district meeting question, particularly hard numbers or specific numbers at least for demolition, complete rehabilitation, and I believe at least one scenario for partial rehabilitation. So all of this hopefully occurs before, substantially in advance of the annual meeting such that we can again put the topic of the school on the agenda for hopefully a final decision as to what we're going to do with the school building. That's where we stand with that. The next agenda item is Freedom Hall.
Freedom Hall is staying busy with more people wanting to use it, and they're coming from far and wide because of the low cost of running the hall, which is good, it's being used. But what I really wanted to discuss was the exterior of Freedom Hall needs to be redone. Can't be painted. I don't think it should be painted anymore because essentially there's lead under there. And the last time we painted it, it's not holding because of all the other times it was painted and we're just going over it. So I think I can get some prices for reshingling it and getting it painted or probably stained.
Meaning ripping the current shingles off and reshingling it.
Yeah, because they're loaded with essentially lead paint when you get down deep enough.
I have been noticing that building is starting to look a little
Grimy, dingy.
shabby.
Yeah.
And that is a significant expenditure, I think, but to me, at least, it makes sense to get some quotes as to what would be involved. Thoughts?
What order of magnitude cost wise? I know that you don't necessarily know, but
I was thinking maybe 30 to 50,000.
I would go on the high side of that, but yeah, I was thinking maybe 50,000.
Yeah.
oh, I'm not against that. I just am already getting anxiety about all these capital improvements.
I am right there with you.
Because we're gonna, what did I see on here? And I'm not saying this just about Freedom Hall, I'm just saying generally. What was it, a 20-something% increase? It was posted here, overall 27.54 change this year in our, you know what I mean? But still, we can do Freedom Hall, we're gonna
Yeah,
have.
I think we know where we're going. It's the fire department laid it out pretty explicitly what their what their costs are gonna be. There's no mystery as to where that big number comes from.
Absolutely, I understand. I just wonder when we get to the meeting and people are we're gonna be throwing a lot of stuff at them, and then 30,000 to do, 50,000 to do Freedom Hall, and you'll be like, are you joking?
Well, I think this project would be perfect for going to the CPC.
Right.
Community Preservation Funds. And, see if we can get some money to,
Absolutely.
through that,
If nothing else, it may come up with a number so big that we say, well, we can't do that now, but we need to be planning for this because it's
gotta be done.
It's gotta be done at some point. The building, certainly in the interior, is in great shape. Yeah, why don't you see what the damage would be for it?
okay.
The next agenda item is website renewal.
So, we had, people from the county come and speak to us once.
Before my time, but yes,
I guess, a long time
a
ago,
long time ago.
when we transferred, our website to, them posting it for them to host it. And when, Pete, went to ask, I guess, went to have access so he could move our website to another host. They said no. So, I don't know why they said no. But, we definitely need an upgrade to our website. When they came and spoke with us, they offered to do all sorts of things, one including upgrading the website. I have no idea how much it would cost, but.
And this was the town?
No, this is a county.
County.
Yeah, they host our website.
When you say they said no to our thoughts of moving
Yeah,
away, is there some valid reason why we can't do that?
I don't actually know, but there's a problem of payment that I've mentioned to you several times, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're so elusive,
Yeah,
is my problem.
we're supposed to be paying them $600 a year, and we can't get in touch with them to get them to send us a bill, ever.
Sounds great.
So,
So they don't want to lose this non-existent stream of
Income
revenue.
stream.
yeah,
It might have something strange to do with owning a domain or something, like, does that, how that works?
That's,
you know, they host the websites of the schools.
Right.
And I don't know who else they host it for.
Or they're willing to upgrade it and then not charge us money? That sounds fun.
No,
No,
they
that
were gonna charge us money. So,
Do you want me to reach out to them and see if they'll,
yeah,
okay.
Because the website is not very user-friendly.
no,
it is
It's
not.
very antiquated. It's high time. Since we're spending all this money, we might as well get a new website. That will be the cheapest thing. We can do.
I guess that's one way to put it. All right, Ray, we're gonna toss that in your lap for the time being.
Retired, sadly.
Yeah, I forget who I talked with. I'm trying to remember.
I can get you the number.
I'll see if I can. I talked with somebody over there in the past 2 years, I know.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
All right, the next agenda item is annual meeting.
well, I just thought that we should start looking, you know, maybe talking, I think there was gonna be a large turnout like there was previously. And I was thinking, maybe we should be talking to the church to see if we could use the community room.
I will talk to the church
Yeah.
and see if it's available. Annual meeting is on a particular date, right?
It's last Wednesday, in May. I
Yeah.
think it's May 28th.
May 28th.
And Fran, you have a great knowledge of the bylaws. Remind me of when our warrants are due.
We have to close them 30 days before the meeting.
Okay.
And everybody's written their annual reports for you?
I haven't received any yet.
Okay.
I still love it.
Ours is done, we just got to do a draft review with our board and then we'll get it.
Can I ask the members of the water department are still there. Can I ask where you stand on your submission for the annual report?
I believe it's finished. You just need it sent to you, right?
Yep.
That'd be a good idea. Maybe we should do that.
It's going to Charlie?
Yeah.
Okay.
What about ours?
Guilty as charged. I owe Charlie that, and I will get it to him.
Yeah.
And the annual meeting time is usually what, 4 or 5 o'clock?
7.
7?
That is the last agenda item except for public comment. Is there any public comment in person or by Zoom?
The meeting's going on, I apologize. This is for you, Mark. Just a little information. I received a request for a building permit for the tower, cell tower. I never had anything, I just got something sent to me, said, would you sign this so we can do some work? And I said, No. No.
Thank
I
you.
have no idea what you're doing or anything like that, so I did send it to Rick Mann, who you dealt with back, either, was it a year ago, December?
Is this the attorney?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, and he's sent some demands to them to have some stuff come back. They're gonna ask for a signature on that. I didn't know, I think you signed the last signature that we had over there.
I'm afraid you're right.
Yeah, I think you started, you signed, then you signed one after all the combination between you and Rick.
Yes.
talked to him.
Yes.
Yeah, and I didn't know if you want to go with the advice of Rick and maybe have me sign it, so I'm not chasing you down, or if you want, I can just call you up at your chair now, just say, come and sign it.
I'd be happy to have you sign it. Let's start with this. Why don't you just loop me into whatever chain there is with Rick?
Okay,
And it may well be something that, well, let me see what.
as a representative or something like
Yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah.
I just wanted you to be aware of it, what's
Okay.
going on, so if you start seeing what's going on, I'll have the CC you in on it.
So that would be
Is this
great.
a Contract?
It isn't the contractor, they're just doing some upgrades to, I think it's AT&T over there.
Oh, okay,
So to do any work on there, though, they have to pull a permit and Barnstable through the building department.
okay.
But they haven't sent me the plan, so I really don't know what they're doing. We only have 2 carriers on there right now, because Sprint and T-Mobile merged.
Yeah.
So there's only 2 carriers on there right now. There's room for 4, I believe. They haven't tried to pick anybody up. Somebody else just bought it, I believe. Back when you were doing it, I think that was what it was, the purchase. They sold the lease to somebody else. So now I'm dealing with somebody in Chicago. So,
Okay.
Yeah. so I
Okay.
just want to make you aware of it. That's all.
That'd be great. Just loop me in.
Yep.
That'd be a great
All
start.
right, thank you.
Thank you, Chris. I think that is it, except for public comment. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.